Hi, and welcome back to Pittman's Pumpkin Patch, Pittman's Garden Patch. It's July 15th, 2014, and my last video I did was a Pumpkins 101, okay? And because it had been a while since I did anything like that, so I figured I'd, go back to the basics for where I started, which was growing pumpkins, and kind of go through all the different stages of the plants and show you different features of the plants, of the pumpkin plants. And so this is part 2 of Pumpkins 101. These are my Howden pumpkins. They are about, let's see, some of them, not all of them, because some were planted at different times. The larger ones were put in the ground, the seeds were put in the ground about June 17th. So it's not even quite a month, almost a month. And I got quite a few things to show you. Now, we just got done with a storm, big rain and thunderstorm and some winds, and it's right now it's drizzling on me, and it kind of looks like, oh my God, at first, light or whatever, it looks like all of these, winds have just come in and blown all these plants down, and they're all destroyed and all this kind of stuff like that. And though the wind probably did do some of this stuff, none of the plants are really harmed at all. Partly because the tendrils are locking onto each other and they're for strength and support. But what I wanted you to see is one thing that happens with your pumpkin plants. After about, I guess, a month or so, they'll start, or maybe even a little less than that, they'll kind of tip over. At first they're growing straight up and everything like a normal plant would, but then eventually they seem like they get very top heavy, and then all of a sudden, boom, one day you come out and your plant is laying down. And you might be thinking, oh my God, what happened? What happened? Nothing. The plant is supposed to do that. Now, you can stake it up to keep it off the ground to help deal with diseases and things like that. But the vine needs to go across the ground, and that's what the plant's supposed to do. Okay? So, I want to show you. Here's a prime example right in here. Okay? Now, you got this pumpkin plant coming out right through here, and it was growing all straight up and everything, but then the vine comes out here and just goes along. In other words, it's just kind of laid over on its side and did what it's supposed to do. Okay, and it's heading towards my trellis exactly the way I want it to. Sometimes you luck out with those kind of things, and other times you have to use sticks and popsicle sticks and I was going to say pretzels, pencils to help guide them to where you want. Now, these things are going crazy because I have secondary and tertiary vines going all over the place, and they're so tangled up in here. I'm like, oh my God, these things are going nuts. But I wanted to show you, not only are my plants laying down on their sides because their vines are stretching out, but I want to take a look at this plant, this one right here. I mean, I'm sorry. Look at all these different male flowers, no pumpkins underneath. So on the bottom of the petal, so I know these are males. These things are going, getting taller and taller. More male flowers, and they're, more right here, just going all over the place. And look at here. Here's a secondary vine growing out towards me that I'm going to reroute to go back towards the trellis. But the main one is that, you see that right there? That vine is going that way. That's coming from back over here, and he goes all the way over to the trellis. I trailed it back all the way and found where it came from. But some of these plants, look at that. These are the bottom of the leaves. And you're like, oh my gosh, everything blew over. Well, and look how tall. Look at this. Look how tall the stalk and the leaves are. That's about like 2 feet on these stalks, maybe even larger. I mean, but it's just crazy. And I'll show you coming back here on the back side of the trellis. I don't know if I can find it anymore again. Oh yes, there it is. Here it is. I found it with my finger. Let's see if I can show you. Right there. See this flower right there? Let's see if I can really show it without hurting the thing. See that little bowl right there? Right at the bottom, see that? Right there, female flower. That's the baby fruit. That's the baby pumpkin. See, right there. Okay. And I'm already getting, at least that I just happened to come across this one. I mean, there's probably more. I'm not going to keep on going around looking for them right now, but I just happened to come across this one. I was like, oh my gosh, now I've got to show this. Because this is what it looks like. And it'll be a little while before this thing starts to mature and get ready to bloom. It'll be a little while longer. At least I think it will. And again, don't be worried if the things abort themselves at the beginning. The first few male flowers, first few female flowers. That's typical. Okay? But this vine, this is the main vine right here, and you can see all the new growth and everything it keeps putting out. So I'm going to be training it to go up the trellis. And I had to open up this, I took my tool material off. It's to the point, these pumpkins plants are at the stage now that I can't really contain them anymore in here. I mean, here is growth training growing up the vine. This thing was so big and thick, and I know you might be thinking, oh my gosh, your leaves are distorted. You got some kind of mosaic disease. No, thank God I don't have one of those, because you have to rip the plants out and throw them away if you do. These are just been tucked up in there and confined by that tool material, and they weren't really allowed to open up to their full girth. So now that I've taken this tool material off, they'll be able to do their thing. But this is the kind of the real dangerous time for them now, because the tool material is no longer going to be protecting them from the squash vine borers. So this is the time that stuff's going to start to happen. Unfortunately, some plants are going to get lost, and other plants are not going to be. Now, some of these plants are putting down tap roots as they go along, where they meet the ground. And I don't know if I can show you one. Okay, here, let's see if I can get in there. See that little, get that tendril out of the way. You see that little white root right there where my thumb is at? Okay, it's just to the right of my thumbnail. That is a taproot that is growing out of the bottom, or in this case a little bit of the side, of the plant. And that will grow down, and it'll go down to the soil, and it'll start sucking nutrients out of the soil. And it puts out these tap roots all along the ways. You can lightly pick something up and feel underneath, and if you feel like a single little piece sticking in the ground, here's one. I can feel it right on this one right here. I don't want to disturb it too much. Let's see if I can. It's hard to see, but you see that little stick. And I got a couple of weeds, or actually, get those things out of there. Sorry about that. See this little tip right there. See, right there that I'm touching my finger, that is a taproot. It's a little dirty because it's been in the ground. But it goes right down there, and it's going to help provide nutrients to the plant. Because, and also the pumpkin plant is doing what it's supposed to do. It's putting out its secondary and tertiary vines, because it probably knows that the squash vine borer moths will be laying their eggs. And if it can put down more secondary and tertiary vines along the way, the plant has a better chance of survival, because maybe the main part of the plant might get killed by the borer, but you have secondary and tertiary vines that will laying down roots as they go along too, and they will help keep the plant alive just long enough that the plant hopes to pass along its genetics to the next generation, which of course is the main reason why plants do that stuff anyways. Why they're there in the first place, to pass along their genetics. So I just wanted to show you that. You can go back to my first 101 video that I shot about a week or two ago, and talks about the tendrils and things like that. So I got male flowers starting to get going, and they'll bloom first, because they're going to the plants want to attract the bees to come to them. Okay, so the male flowers will bloom first, and quite a few of them, to get the bees coming, getting the bees used to coming to this area and saying, hey, the flight pattern, come this way, guys, And then once the bees are in the area, then the female flowers will start to bloom. That way it helps to propagate the next generation of pumpkin plants. Okay, so this is getting really, really busy, and it looks like a disaster right now. I know it does, and it kind of sort of is. It's because I overplanted, as I usually do. And these things, I got such healthy soil, healthy organic soil here, that these things are going nuts. So these things are already going up the trellis. You can see right there, and it's going to get to that trellis in a couple weeks. It'll be at the top of the trellis probably in the next 3 weeks. Some of these vines will. And again, I can't stop what the vine borer moth's going to do. There's not a whole, I can do some things, and I just ordered some syringes with needles today and some more BT and things, so that, you know, if I see the evidence that the egg is hatched and the larva is inside the plant, I can inject the BT in different various places where I think the moth might be, and when he digests some of the plant material that has the BT, it'll kill him, and you know, he'll stop eating, he'll die, and hopefully it'll save the plant. That's my new technique thing I'm doing this year that I'm adding to my arsenal. Quickly, I have other pumpkin plants down here. These are the ones that were just planted maybe a couple weeks ago, so they're real new. So pretty soon these things will be taken off, but a lot of these are short vine varieties, so these should not, knock on wood, these should not be as a tangled mess that you see over there with, you know, but I do expect secondary vines to go out from here too, but these should be more manageable. You know, these are my short vines, except for that plant all the way down the end and the one over there. That's short vine. Those are long vine ones, and I accidentally ordered those. I thought they were short. There's another plant supposed to be right there about my finger, never showed up. This one that was right about there, I had to take it out because it was not doing anything. Cotyledon leaves, the baby leaves, had gotten destroyed a little bit when it was first growing. So stuff happens, and you just got to keep moving on. Little tomatoes that I picked off of those tomato plants a few weeks ago. Some of them, most of them are starting to ripen up. Just sitting out here in the sun for about 3 weeks. Okay. I know it's a Pumpkin Patch 101, but I gotta, where's my watermelons? I'm still waiting for the bottoms to get creamy yellow. The tendrils are brown, and I'm waiting for them to get creamy yellow. Like I said, a lot of these have, you know, the vines are coming to their end, and they're just trying to ripen up the watermelon. Here's more of my pumpkins in here. These are short vine varieties also, so hopefully this will be more manageable and controllable in here. Okay, so male flowers on the way. Secondary, tertiary vines going all over the place. And female flowers are already starting to show up, starting to develop in the plants. So it won't be long. You know, before I don't know if I'm going to go put that tool material back on there, because it's just, like I said, it's just, these things are out of control, and I can't contain them anymore like that, you know, because I'm restricting them. I was hoping that I could just lay the tool material and have and take the vines as they get towards the trellis and have them just come out underneath the tool material and then go up the trellis. There's just way too many plants to do that. And besides, that'll leave so many gaps and openings for the vine borer moths to just slip right under, fly in there, and lay their little eggs by the stems, you know. So anyways, hopefully I won't have too many damage from the vine borer moths this year. I'll keep doing my program that I'm using, and I still haven't done my product video yet, but hopefully I'll get to that pretty soon. Alright, from Pittman's Pumpkin Patch, Pittman's Garden Patch, I'll talk at you later. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends.